They stopped their nuclear program that could have made 30 nuclear weapons a year in a very short time if it had not been stopped. So they felt they'd given up quite a lot. They got promises. After this agreement was concluded in 1994, the Republicans take over Congress. Clinton faces real opposition to this agreement he's just concluded. You softy, you've just given away the store to North Korea. So Clinton just didn't carry out most of this agreement. And many people in the Clinton administration thought, well, North Korea will collapse anyway. We don't have to carry it out. In the meanwhile, the military men in North Korea are going to Kim Jong-il and saying, you sucker, you've been conned.
When Kim launches his long-range missile, Clinton is compelled to rethink U.S. policy towards North Korea. Following South Korea's lead of dialogue with the North, in October 2000, the president sends his Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, to Pyongyang for direct talks with Kim Jong-il.
I went, having been briefed on what kind of a weirdo he was from our own people. He was portrayed as reclusive-like, with many girlfriends and watching porno movies, and basically a very weird kind of person that you had no idea what he was going to be like.
So, did you spend a pleasant time there?
He was actually quite charming. While I knew all the terrible things that he had done, I could at least make the distinction that he wasn't crazy. He was very, very well prepared, responded without notes, was not only respectful, but also interested in what I had to say.
The talks with Secretary Albright lead to a remarkable breakthrough.
Kim Jong-il puts his missile program on the table. He offers to end all exports of ballistic missiles. He offers to freeze the production, deployment, and testing of all ballistic missiles with a range of 300 miles or more.
This was extraordinary. It was indeed a moment of great hope. There was a possibility Kim Jong-il was finally going to enter the community of nations, perhaps hesitantly, but ultimately to really create the final peace and stability that might replace the armistice of 50 years that had been put in place at the end of the Korean War.
It was a hopeful set of cards that we left on the table. I think it was a big surprise to everybody when the Bush administration decided not to pick up that hand of cards.
The newly elected President Bush has grave concerns that Kim Jong-il cannot be trusted.
North Korea is a regime arming with missiles and weapons of mass destruction. States like these and their terrorist allies constitute an axis of evil.
Bush's strong words are met by an increasingly defiant Kim Jong-il. North Korea's seeming determination to become a nuclear power will lead to an ever-escalating confrontation with the United States. Fearing that he too will be targeted by precision-guided missiles, like those used against Saddam Hussein, Kim Jong-il goes into hiding for 50 days, shortly before the U.S. invasion of Iraq. Kim's disappearance also coincides with the annual U.S.-South Korean joint military exercises. For more than 50 years, the U.S. military has maintained a commitment to protect the South at a cost of more than $2 billion per year. 37,000 American troops are still in place and ready for combat.
If I were North Koreans, I would worry too. We know today the Americans have a 5-stage attack plan on North Korea.
They are scared of us. They've been scared of us throughout the Cold War. And now, during the Bush period, they've become really scared again.
People say, well, are you willing to talk to North Korea? Of course we are. But what this nation won't do is be blackmailed.
President Bush has stated that any direct talks prior to North Korea's halting of its nuclear program are blackmail, the rewarding of bad behavior.
If that remains the U.S. posture, I think we're headed for a train wreck. I think it will be very difficult to prevent North Korea from going ahead with a nuclear weapons program.
But many believe that Kim's true intention is to bargain away his nuclear program in exchange for normal relations with the West and a guarantee his regime will survive.
Deep down, the honest feeling on the part of top leadership, in my assessment, is that they like to have a situation where they don't need to pursue nuclear weapons. I'm absolutely sure if we provide a security assurance, they will have incentive to do away with their nuclear programs.
In April 2003, U.S. and North Korean officials meet in China to try to resolve the nuclear issue. The meeting ends badly, cut short when North Korea announces that they now possess atomic weapons. Though still unverified, the assertion adds new urgency to the debate within the Bush administration on how to proceed. There are no easy options.
The administration has not yet figured out what they're going to do about North Korea. If we're going to try to talk North Korea out of nuclear weapons, we have to be able to say, if you satisfy us on the nuclear weapons issue, we will otherwise leave you alone.